Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. Well, it's 5 o'clock. We've got a quorum, so let's get started with the meeting of the Ogden Valley Planning Commission, August 6, 2024. And first of all, we'll start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't see a flag, so if you can imagine a flag, let's stand and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for our roll call, Commissioner Burton acting as chair today, Commissioner Frohr, Bryce Frohr, new member of the Planning Commission. Welcome, Commissioner Frohr, Commissioner Schweppe, and Commissioner Wampner. And that's 4 of 7, so we have a quorum. We have minutes for the June 25th, 2024 meeting. I've gone through those minutes and suggested some changes that I thought were appropriate. I assume those have been incorporated. Is that correct, Tammy?
That's correct.
And have you received any submissions from anyone else as to those minutes?
No.
I didn't submit any prior to this call. I'm a little confused on this being a meeting. I thought it was going to be a workshop.
Well, it's scheduled as a work session.
Yes. Which I thought during work sessions we're not allowed to approve or vote or do anything like that. So I didn't submit my corrections yet.
Okay. Do you have some to submit?
I will, yes. There's quite a few, at least on the copy that I received, there are quite a few misprints of who's attending and who's speaking and things like that.
Yeah, okay. I picked up some of those and we'll welcome yours. I suggest maybe we hold off on approval of these minutes until you have a chance to get your corrections in.
Okay, thank you.
Does that work?
Yes, thank you.
Erickson. Oh, Commissioner Barber has joined us. Thank you. Okay, we will hold off on the approval of those minutes until commissioners have a chance to submit any additional corrections. We have one consent item on the agenda today. Council Erickson, can we approve a consent item at a work session?
Is on the agenda properly. First of all, is my audio working okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's on the agenda properly as an item for discussion and decision, it can be. The rules of order, I just pulled them up. They do talk about work sessions generally being held on the first Tuesday of the month, alternating, but it does say work sessions may also be held as part of a regular commission meeting or called in the same manner as a special meeting. The commission shall take no vote during a work session. So that is correct as to that point. But if it is noted as not a work session item, but rather an agenda item for decision, then that would be okay to take a vote on. That's been the practice for a long time. If it's a work session specifically, it will be labeled that way on the agenda.
Okay, so even though we were having this meeting at the scheduled time for a work session, because the agenda doesn't call it a work session, we're free to entertain and pass a consent item if we choose.
Correct. Yeah, that's the way I would interpret that. Looking at the agenda, it does not say work session on it for this item or anything before. Well, I don't even see work session on here, but so yes, it would be appropriate, in my opinion, for you to take a vote and approve or deny the item.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. I was just, I'm surprised. I think publicly it's been accepted that our meetings are always at the end of the month, and every other month we have a first week of the month work session where the public is not invited to make comment. They're invited to participate, but not to make comment. And this would fall into that, but you're right, the agenda says meeting on it. So I'm quite surprised that this is going to be held as an actual meeting. Is that what you're saying, Cortland?
Yes, it is noted as a meeting on the agenda. So yes, this would be held as a meeting. And that is the planning division, I guess, has the ability along with you to, as the planning commission, to determine what is going to be on these agendas. Again, the rules of order do talk about generally holding work session meetings on the first Tuesday of each month, but my recollection, my experience here, the practice has been that when there are items to be approved and there is a meeting scheduled on the first Tuesday of the month, they often do get put on that agenda as items for approval or denial.
Okay, so it sounds like we're free to proceed and consider this consent item. Typically with a consent item, we don't have a lot of discussion unless we pull it from the consent agenda to a regular discussion agenda. Is everyone comfortable with the idea we proceed with this as a consent item?
Yes.
I had one question, I guess maybe legal counsel. You know, I read that and I saw, and it was kind of hard to tell exactly from the drawing that was included, but it's a structure going to be put in Snowbasin in or around the ski area somewhere. And I know from a health and safety standpoint, does the county typically want language in there saying the applicant is going to do, you know, in due course, protect the public from collision with a building being built in a ski area where one wasn't before? I mean, it's, you know, skiing's dangerous and people run into things. I'm just wondering if the county typically puts language in there to cover themselves in an approval of a building they know is going into a dangerous area.
I would say, if you're asking me, that is certainly something that could be considered as an additional condition. I don't remember specifically one way or another a situation exactly like this and whether there was a condition imposed on an application like this, but it would certainly be something that you could add.
I wouldn't suggest you tell them how to do it. I was just wondering if the county wants language that says the applicant will construct the building in a way that is safe for, you know, the normal course of public in the normal course of their skiing business or something like that. I mean, you know, last year or the year before, a skier ran into a pole that Deer Valley put up somewhere and was killed. So things happen. I'm just wondering if the county likes to cover themselves in that regard.
Yeah, I'm honestly, from a liability perspective, I don't think the county would necessarily, again, want to get into the details. And I know you're saying you're not asking us to get into the details of what that would be. I think we would rely on the applicant here to make the decision as to where to put it, how to put it in a safe place, how to, you know, do whatever is necessary to ensure the safety of the people who are going to be using that area. And I would not really see that as a county issue specifically. And I honestly wouldn't be too worried about potential county liability. I think that would be something for the something the applicant would need to be more concerned about.
It just seems to me typically this kind of a thing wouldn't be considered as a consent item. We'd have some discussion on it. Does somebody want to make a motion that we have discussion if you choose? Otherwise, we'll go forward as a consent item. And if it's a consent item, we're not adding restrictions or suggestions or conditions, right?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Somebody trying to speak?
I just wanted to make sure you could hear me. I'm good with consent.
Okay. Well, I don't hear any motions to move this from the consent agenda to the regular agenda. So therefore, we'll move forward as a consent item. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, sounds like the voting was unanimous and this can move forward as a consent item that has met with Planning Commission approval. Next item on the agenda, public comment for items not on the agenda. If anyone is online that would like to make a comment for items not on the agenda, please raise your hand. Tammy, will you confirm there are none?
There are none here in the chambers.
Okay, we'll go to the next item, remarks from planning commissioners. Does anyone choose to make a remark?
I have just a general comment. So I took the opportunity to watch the July 15th County Commission work session where the Cowboy Partners zoning change request was discussed. And it was my impression, simply my impression, that what was portrayed to the county commission wasn't exactly what the commission voted on. And the way it was presented was not at all in the same direction as the vote, which was unanimous at that point. So I just wanted to be on record saying that my observation of what was presented to the county commission was not what I thought happened.
Okay. Would you like to make more detailed comments as to how it differed?
No, I don't think at this time that would have any direct benefit. I mean, amongst the people on this call who were on the commission at that time, we were there, we voted, we created the motion and had the conversations across 4 meetings. It just was my impression that our experience across those 4 meetings, the motion that was made and approved unanimously was not portrayed accurately to the county commission.
Okay. Have you had a chance, Commissioner Barber, to review the minutes that are attached to this packet this week? That was the meeting we're talking about.
Yeah, the meeting, well, I'm talking about the meeting, the Weber County Commission meeting, not our meeting.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So the minutes that we were going to consider tonight, but we postponed consideration till we can get input from Commissioner Wampler and anybody else that would like to. They address what happened in that meeting. So my question would be, do you feel like those minutes accurately reflect what happened at the meeting? I
think our minutes and what happened in our meeting are accurately reflected. That's not what I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to what happened on July 15th. That's right. Yeah.
Now, I think there was effort made on that meeting on June 25th to the effect that we would like to see what's going to be presented to the county commission.
Right.
So that we can assure that it will be accurately presented.
Yeah, and accuracy reflects written and verbal. So my comments, and I actually, I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly what was handed to them physically. And no doubt that was more accurate than what was portrayed verbally and presented. So my observation on the deviation from reality or the lack of completeness with respect to what was presented goes to the verbal presentation that was made on July 15th.
I think that your comments encourage us all to review those minutes. But who made the presentation to the county commission?
It was the planner responsible for that project, Charlie.
Okay. Thank you. Any other commissioners like to make comments, remarks from planning commissioners?
Yeah, I would like to make sure you noted that I'm in attendance. Hi, Commissioner Schuman. And I echo Commissioner Barber's concerns. The recording, I was able to listen to it as well. It wasn't accurate in the way it was portrayed. There's quite a few points, but generally, without getting into detail, was not accurate in the way it was presented. So.
Okay, yes, let the record reflect Commissioner Schuman is in attendance now, and also Commissioner Morby. So with respect to a representation being made to the county commission by planning staff that is different than what the planning commission intended to be represented, this isn't the first time this has come up. So that's my comment. I hope that something can happen so that what we spend a lot of time working on and ultimately determining gets accurately passed over to the county commission. Any more commissioner comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to planning director report. Rick is not here. Is he? Would someone from staff like to make that report?
He's here. He said he has no comments. I don't know.
Okay.
The mic picked it up.
And remarks from legal counsel, Cortland.
I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Commissioner Frohr, have you ever heard a lawyer that didn't have anything to add?
That's rare.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll let it pass this time.
All right. Okay. Well, I think we've reached the end of our agenda. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for your attendance and help tonight. Have a
Thank
great
you.
week.